Give me 2.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Michael Govier here, along with Benjamin Chase. We're live. It's a Prospects Power Half Hour. Palazzo Podcast on all standard social media. And, of course, the Discord is free. You can find the link anywhere. You could go to Discord and find the link. You could go to discord.com, maybe type in Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
Or maybe I'll drop
2.
the link in the live chat while we're here. Either way, me and Ben are here, and we got to dive right into it. The Tigers have traded for Justyn-Henry Malloy. We just interviewed Justyn-Henry Malloy about a month ago, directly from his living room in Arizona, in Scottsdale, Arizona, because he was a part of Arizona Fall League. And now he's been traded to my Tigers of all teams.
Go Tigers.
Unbelievable.
Wait. Just a second here. Oh.
There. Oh, hey, look at that. You're ready to transition. People don't know. If you don't know Ben at all, Ben, how would you describe your connection to the Braves?
Oh, I'm a lifelong Braves fan, but more than anything, I am a baseball nut. And this is one of the many, many hats that I picked up on my wife and I's honeymoon. I believe that we picked up this one as a free giveaway hat when we went to watch the Tigers, and David Price pitched a one-hitter and Miguel Cabrera hit one out in that game. And so it was a good ball game to be at. But it, for me, I love baseball, but I am a Braves fan. Going back to the 80s when they stunk, but it's, so I've written about the Braves. I've covered the Braves for a lot of years, and I'm actually right now working on my annual top 100 Braves prospects, not a top 100 of the whole, like all prospects, just in the Braves system. And I do that every year. And just so that everyone knows, Justyn-Henry was going to be number 1. He was my number 1 Braves prospect.
Damn! Wow.
Yeah. So let's just say, as a Braves fan, I'm not a big fan of losing a top prospect in the system for a reliever that's likely going to be your 7th inning guy. That's not exactly the best way to utilize your resources. That said, I really have to be excited for our boy Justyn-Henry. Hey, right now, you look at the Tigers, and he could walk in right now and platoon with Akil Baddoo in left field.
Yeah.
Because Baddoo can't hit a lefty to save his life. There's like a 250-point split between his OPS against righties and lefties. So, yeah, it'd be the short side of the platoon, but right now he could walk into that situation. And there's nobody else at the upper levels that's a right-handed bat that they have that can play left field. Their other options are all lefty bats. And so that's a very possible situation for him right now, unless they go out and get somebody. I'm excited for him for the opportunity for sure. I think barring them spending some big money, he might have had that option in Atlanta this year too, which is really kind of a bummer for me because I would have loved to see him do it for my club, but you get to see him potentially do it for your club. And more than anything, you and I both know Malloy is one of the really good guys in the game. That was what we were both just. And I had a chance to, throughout the course of the year, chat with him via text a number of times. He's a great, great young man. And
see the interview for yourself. The interview is on our YouTube and it's on our podcast feed. Listen to it or watch him in real time. He speaks for himself.
Yeah, he's easy to cheer for. And here's a guy he's speaking up his teammates left and right, talking up his system left and right. I don't remember him saying a bad word about anyone in that interview. It's just... Oh,
and he was being frank, too. He wasn't being coy or trying not to be honest. He was open.
Yep. So, he's a very impressive young man, and I think he can handle. He's got the offensive skills to where the Tigers should be giving him an opportunity early. So I'm happy for him for that chance. It's a bummer for my Braves that was the asset that they used to get a reliever, but at the same time, I gotta say, as long as they bring in someone who can adequately fill shortstop, are you really saying right now that it still isn't the Phillies and the Braves right now at the top of that division? Because the Mets, they really they're going to be losing a lot right now offensively. I mean, yeah, they replaced DeGrom, but they also lost Taijuan Walker. They've lost some firepower in their pitching staff, and they got to replace that. That's going to be a big deal, and that's a pitching staff that's going to be 35 years old or older across the board. It's going to be interesting.
That's true. It is going to be interesting. The NL East will be exciting. They have so much talent, and the Marlins are loaded with pitching, but they can't hit. So there's a lot of great players in that division. Chad says here, if Malloy ends up getting any share of the third base platoon as well, I think he could be one of the most valuable fantasy assets in Dynasty. All of Dynasty. Wow. How about that?
Well, for sure, as far as a guy that you aren't going to have to pay a nickel for right now, because you could pick him up off the free agent wire for sure right now, and if your free agent wire is open, but I mean he's certainly out there, and really it's kind of an open spot for the Tigers there as well at third base. The only thing I would caution there is the Tigers have a number of guys that have options in left field. They have two guys, or for sure Zach Short doesn't have options. I'm not sure. Creedler does have options. I'm not sure. They have a couple of infielders that are without options, and I'm not sure if I'm remembering all of them. I think maybe Cody Clemens might be out of options. Anyway, I was looking at some of the third base.
You'd be close
with the Tigers, and so some of their third base options their third base potential guys were out of options, and so that could influence what position Malloy may end up at if they're kind of having to keep those guys at the majors, but they could drop. Let's say, Baddoo has options. They could literally put him down to the minors if he's struggling and bring up Malloy. Whereas if Short isn't, or if Short is struggling, they're going to have to pass him through waivers. And that may not be something they're willing to do. So who knows? You're talking about if a guy is struggling, which, with the Tigers right now, it's like, well, gee, are we going to lose 90 games or 95? But it's really, that's a crappy spot
offensively.
To be in. But man, it'd be nice to see. It's going to give him a spot. That's just it. He's really, for the Tigers, those are two spots that should have openings. If he happened to play first base, he's screwed because you have a future Hall of Famer and a former number one draft pick who want those spots, which,
trash.
Sorry, but reputation means that Miguel Cabrera and Spencer Torkelson would play ahead of him. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it works because those guys put butts in the seats. Sad to say. Yeah. But
Miguel Cabrera's trash. He's an old man. He's done. He's on a roster. He has to be paid this final year, and he'll be there, and it's really, really a huge bummer. But I don't think it has anything to do with Malloy's situation because he started to get some left field reps, and I like what you're saying about that being an opportunity. And then you look at the 40-man roster for the Tigers as of right now, like you said, there's guys like Andy Ibanez who are on this roster at the moment. I don't know how long, if he'll make the spring training roster by then or not.
There's at least I was going through their 40-man. There's a half a dozen guys that I think if they cut right now, nobody would touch. It's just they have a lot of fodder on that 40-man right now. I think 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, they got Bly Madris from Pittsburgh. Bly Madris had a hot moment in Pittsburgh this past season, and then Austin Meadows, we don't know what's going on with him. We really don't. He's really an up-in-the-air question mark. That's hey, I'm Austin Meadows. I used to be able to be a 30 home run hitter. Now I'm a guy who can't be relied on for a quarter of a season at the moment.
Well, and frankly, one of the guys that you would consider a potential guy for competition in left field is his brother, Parker.
Parker.
What's he going to be able to bring? But the thing is, Parker's a lefty. So, I mean, there's another guy who swings from the wrong side of the plate as far as bumping Malloy's chances, but if Parker goes out and he shows that he can hit both sides of the plate well, and he can, he might be the guy that goes up and takes that left field job and says, nope, it's mine. Sorry, which good on him if he does. But here's something for you to think about. Parker Meadows, drafted in 2018. He is older than Justyn Malloy, who was drafted in 2021.
Wow. How about that? See, that's a fun fact right there. That's what you get here on the Palazzo Podcast. We're live here. He's Benjamin Chase. I'm Michael Govier. Follow us everywhere at Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's and 2 Z's. And make sure you follow Ben at Big Gentle Ben on Twitter. I'm at MJ Govier. Look, I'm happy for Justyn-Henry Malloy. I told him, I hit him up real quick. I said, hey, I'm sure you'll get all of the resources in the world, but if you want to know anything about what's really going on in Southeast Michigan, Metro Detroit, hit me up. I'm happy to inform you. I mean, I don't think of myself as an old man. I really don't, but I'm twice his age. I really am now. And it's really strange for me to think that, because I don't operate in those terms like, oh, hey, I'm this age and I got to act this way now. It's just not what I do. I'm going to be me no matter what age I am. But I told him I'd be happy to provide any type of information on just the basics, because I think, do we both agree, Ben, that he will be up with the Tigers this season?
For sure in September. I mean, if nothing else, he's going to get a full season at AAA, and they're going to give him a shot and see what he is in September. He's either next year, or he might even have 2 years before he's even someone they got to think about for Rule 5. So they've got some time to look at him and see who he is. Whereas some of the other guys they have that are close right now, they got to make some decisions on this offseason. So it might be one of those things where he gets played by a number game. But if he produces the way he produces last year, he's going to force his issue. So that's
damn right.
I mean, that's just it. You keep pushing and you keep showing. That's all you can do. You do what you can do, and that's as far as a player is concerned. And you let the opportunities take care of themselves. That's all you can do. So, but I got to put this.
Alex
back.
This
was a gift, and so
Yeah, I understand. I get it. We thought we'd have some fun with it, but we're both of us are thrilled for Justyn right now. I mean, Ben has a attachment to him because of Adopt a Minor Leaguer. Remember that, adoptaminorleaguer.com. You can help a minor leaguer this coming season who needs help. And that's how this all started. We were able to interview him when I went out to Arizona Fall League last month. And so he's always going to be, it's just a fortuitous experience that he ended up in the Tigers system now. It's just so cool. I'm really happy for him. And no matter what team he's on, I was always going to be a Justyn-Henry Malloy super fan anyways, just because I respected him for being honest, open, and very knowledgeable. But we do have to look at this, Ben, from the other perspective. Alex Anthopoulos said that he'd been trying to acquire Joe Jimenez for some time, since the trade deadline last year. He's got this obsession with Joe Jimenez. He loves Joe Jimenez, apparently. Sees him as a great fit. And as Chad says here, discussed in length on the Discord, which you guys could all join for free. Ben and I'm hugely intrigued with how Jimenez and the coaching staff will work with the relievers the last few years. So will there be a great fit for Jimenez to rise up into a role here? Kenley Jansen's gone. He signed with the Red Sox, 2-year, $32 million deal. But Raisel Iglesias is still here, and I assume he is the closer for now. How do you see this playing out for Jimenez on this side?
I'd say Iglesias is your closer. You've got AJ Minter still in town as the kind of the eighth inning guy and the primary lefty guy. And then right now, Luke Jackson ended up having surgery, and he's likely out of town now. I mean, this is really whose spot is being taken here, that Jimenez is going to be taken. And that's the primary setup righty. So that's really the role that Jimenez will be taking, is the primary setup righty spot, which sadly, that was kind of a spot that they tried to use Colin McHugh in last year, which Colin McHugh as a reliever is a tremendous guy to have in your bullpen, because you can throw him out there for 3 innings, you can throw him out for 1 inning, and that changeup is absolutely wicked in the modern bullpen where everyone throws 98 with a 90-mile-an-hour slider, and he comes in throwing 89 with a changeup that he can spot anywhere and that has goofy movement. That's a great guy to have in your bullpen. Just like having Jesse Chavez. They bring him back every year, it seems like, and he does really well with the Braves. But I think Jimenez is going to slot into that spot where he's going to be their 7th, 8th inning guy, kind of the right-handed setup guy. If something were to happen to Raisel Iglesias, I don't know that you're jumping on Jimenez as the closer. What you saw last year when Jansen went down, they didn't hand the job directly to a right-handed guy. It ended up being all hands on deck taking saves. When Jansen went down for a little bit, Jansen wasn't the primary closer for a little bit. Had a little bit of his kind of flare up with his heart stuff and needed some extra time off for a few weeks during the season. Minter got a couple saves. I think Madsick got a couple save opportunities in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just kind of all hands on deck and everyone got some looks for saves. That's the way that this is going to be likely for the Braves bullpen. And I mean, they've got a deep bullpen. I mean,
they already did. Yeah. That's what's weird about this trade. I think that's what you didn't like about it either, is this is an arm that you're getting who fills into a bullpen that is loaded anyways for a guy who could be a 30 home run hitter down the way.
And quite frankly, one of the guys that I was surprised did not go in the Rule 5 draft was Victor Vodnik of the Braves, who is an upper 90s guy with a mid 80s slider that is just a really wicked looking slider. And he basically fits the exact same profile as Jimenez as far as pitch stuff, all these things. But he's only pitched to AAA so far, and the Braves didn't protect him because they had such a loaded bullpen. I couldn't really blame them for not protecting him, just because you protect the starters because they are the starters, and then, you know, a guy that's a bullpen guy, when you have a bullpen that loaded, you don't protect that guy. I respect why they didn't, but then he didn't get selected. It's like, okay, well, we have kind of a new lease on life with this guy. We can still have him sitting in AAA as kind of our break glass if needed sort of thing. But oh wait, now we go and get another arm. Wait, well, so now we're sinking him even further down the depth. Okay, all right, well, never mind. Yes.
Hey, I mean, Alex Anthopoulos has made a lot of great moves too, so we'll see how this plays out. This is all about the long term, and it could have been a win-win for both sides because they both needed this. But the question really was just on the Brave side of the need, because the bullpen last year was loaded already, and it's not that much worse off now. But I want to jump over to this real quickly because we only got so much time. Christian says, big fan of the game right now. Yeah, I agree with this real quick. Baseball right now, after last year and having the lockout, we didn't get any of this. This feels so good. And we're talking about the game and players getting opportunities and trades, and winter meetings are back. And, you know, the game's always going to have problems. We know that. Don't get it twisted. I understand what owners are about and the challenges that are in this game. But right now, it's a lot of fun. It is. There's a lot of great players. There's movement, and there's, with the extra playoff opportunities now, the Phillies went to the World Series, right? So, and they just signed Trey Turner for an 11-year deal, $300 million. And we had a question about this guy right here. Is Bryson Stott still draftable in redraft leagues now, Ben? Bryson Stott, showed promise this past year. Now Trey Turner's in town.
Right now, he's their second baseman. That's what I think right now he's still their second baseman until they decide he's not. That's really where they
want to give him a shot still, and then if it doesn't work out, they can make a move at the trade deadline.
And that's what I was talking about, we talked about this in the Discord a little bit. Stott, all the way back to college, has had trouble with premium velocity. And I mean, like your 98 to 100 mile an hour velocity. And he still seems to have that trouble. But you give the guy a 90 mile an hour slider, and for some reason he handles that, which explain that to me because I don't get it. But he does seem to handle that premium braking stuff and be able to work with it. Maybe not, excel, but he can work with it. It's that premium velocity that he struggles with. So, yeah, he's going to have his issues as a major league hitter overall, but because of that, being able to handle that braking stuff is going to allow him to zero in, because major leaguers are going to just pound him with fastballs. And if you know a fastball is coming, you can really set yourself up and time yourself up. And, the old Hank Aaron saying was, hey, major league hitters can hit a jet airliner if they know it's coming, And so, I mean, eventually, he's going to time that up, and he has definitely got the power to where he could turn that into a 20 home run season, and a 20 home run second baseman is a pretty darn nice thing to have. Now, I don't know. Depends on your league. I guess I would have to look to even, I would have to even look to see what I'd have to take a look to see what his position eligibility is. But if he has shortstop eligibility, for sure, shortstop plus second base eligibility makes him a pretty valuable guy in a lot of leagues. So
absolutely, I love it. I love it here, live on the Plaza Podcast. It's a Prospects Power Half Hour. Justyn-Henry Malloy is a Tiger. We're thrilled for him. Maybe we'll get him back on the show, and he could talk about once he's settled in. I don't want to bother a guy. I bet there's a lot of people who probably already hit him up, and in fact, maybe the Tigers already set up something where they want to promote him anyways. But love to have Justin come on once he's settled and how he feels about being a Tiger, and I feel like maybe he'll do that. But maybe we'll make that happen after the new year or right before that period of time. But I always respect, especially him. I just have a lot of respect for him, and I don't want to be like, hey, he just got traded. Come on our show right now. We wouldn't do that. That's not how we operate here. But
yep.
Rule 5 draft. So we did have an early comment here. This went back to the beginning. Jerry DiPoto already flipped Frankie Tostado. He picked him and then shipped him to the Nationals. Any analysis on Frankie Tostado? Or is he just messing with me here? Because I didn't get a chance to get the latest information on this. So I hope Chad was not messing around.
Well, that would have been, I believe that was one of their minor league. Yeah, that was a minor league Rule 5 pick.
Okay.
That's, to me, one of the more fun things is going through the minor league Rule 5 after it's all done, which those are guys that they didn't decide to put onto their AAA roster that were eligible for the Rule 5, and they didn't put all the way up to the AAA roster. That's how they get eligible for that part of it. And I like to go through that and just see how far I have to go down before I don't recognize a name and I have to look him up. That's, my challenge personally. And I got to the third round this year. The Rule 5 in general this year was pretty chalk. I mean, it was pitchers. We all kind of knew it'd be pitchers. 2 hitters were taken, and that's it. Ryan Noda was the guy who I was excited about last week as far as a hitter is concerned. All kinds of on-base ability. He went to the A's, where there's actually going to be some chance for him to make the squad. He was a Dodgers farmhand. And then Blake Sable, that they're talking about, he got traded to the Giants. He was picked by the Reds, traded to the Giants. He's a catcher, outfielder, hybrid type of guy. Going to be probably a good backup type of guy just because he can handle catcher, and that makes him flexible, allows him to stick on the roster.
Ryan Noda had a 395 OBP at AAA for the Dodgers this year. Again, this is the PCL. 395 OBP. He did strike out 28% of the time, 16% walk rate, 20 steals. He had a 25-20 season. So the numbers look really, really promising. It's at least worth
he is an
diving in further.
Nut.
Yeah,
he walks nuts. It's crazy how much he walks.
Ryan Noda. That's Noda. Yeah, the newest athletic from the Rule 5 draft. That's an interesting bat. He's a left-handed bat. Throws left too, 6'3", 220. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. First base outfield guy, Ryan Noda. Congratulations, Mr. Noda. I hope you get to stick on the roster. And Ben, he probably has a great opportunity to actually stick on a roster since he's in Oakland.
Yeah, if anywhere, that's about the perfect spot. Now, the rest was all pretty much pitchers. Kind of the ones that stuck out a little bit. Thad Ward went first to the Nationals. And the interesting thing there, the Nationals need starting pitching. Thad Ward is coming off of an injury and looking to potentially start. Huh. And this is one of those rare moments when a guy could actually come off. He may start the year in the bullpen, but Thad Ward very well could finish the season in the Nationals rotation.
What?
So be watching this because it's very well this could be the type of situation we used to see with someone like Johan Santana, where they work
the Holy Grail,
where he works as a reliever for a good portion of the year, but eventually works his way into the rotation. But that's the guy to really, really watch here because he was by far to me the most talented guy selected. If you go down, your Tigers got one that I really like in Mason Englert. Very high profile draft pick when he was picked. Has had injuries ever since. I don't know. He's got the raw stuff, but he hasn't pitched above anything above A ball. So we'll see. I have a feeling they're going to be returning him. But doesn't hurt to take a look. If he could stick as a bullpen piece, awesome. But the other one that I think, there's two that are really interesting. Noah Song went to the Phillies. He's a guy who's on a Navy commitment right now. And they're going to be able to kind of stick him into a special designation for those who are on military commitments. And so they technically don't have to have him on their active roster right now. It's kind of like if you pick somebody who's just had Tommy John, you can slide them onto the injured list, and then you don't have to actively have them playing. So it kind of saves you that time. But as soon as they come off, you have to put them active and all this. Anyway, but when they're on military leave, some of that counts toward the time that they would have to serve as far as an active player. So this could be a good thing for the Phillies. But he had elite stuff as a college pitcher, but they changed the rules in his senior year. They used to allow for individual guys to possibly get out of their military commitment. That's how Griffin Jacks, he actually had a commitment, and then with the Air Force, and they gave him an individual pass because he was, I think, like a third or fourth round pick by the Twins. And they allowed him to forego his military commitment to be a pro with the Twins. And then Noah Song comes along, and this bill is going through and gets passed that cancels all future individual waivers. And so all of a sudden he's got to fulfill his entire military commitment. And so then that's no bueno. So he has to fill all of that, which means he's I believe still got a year or 2 years left on his military commitment before he's done with that. Who knows what he's going to be like as far as a pitcher is concerned when he's done. Yeah. But elite raw stuff.
Not a lot going on, like you said. Yeah, he's been a busy boy. Man, look at all these ads on Fangraphs, by the way. Yeah. Jesus. Boom, 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 boom.
Unless you pay for the membership there. If you pay for a Fangraphs membership, then you get, the nice clean page. But otherwise.
I guess that's what I need to be doing. But fastball slider,
advertising.
Yeah, I understand. Hey, everyone's got to get paid. Just wanted to share some of the pages for those of you watching on the live stream here.
If he can come in and he's got an elite upper 90s fastball, and if his curveball slider are up to par when he comes back, that's a strong relief arm, you know.
Yeah.
So
and
the other guy
we know what
that I
happened
think
last
is
year.
the other guy that I think is interesting, Wilking Rodriguez, that was picked by the Cardinals. He's like 31, 33, something like that. He was been pitching in the Mexican League. He was developed in the major league system, or in a major league system, for a number of years. Went over, pitched in the Mexican League for a number of years, was then signed by the Yankees this year as a minor league free agent. And the Cardinals saw him and saw some of his numbers and went, hey, you know what? We really like that guy. We think he could work in our bullpen. And so they drafted him in the Rule 5 away from the Yankees, who had just signed him as a minor league free agent, and said, nope, he's ours now. So he's
oh, it's spelled Wilking. That's new. Wilking, Wilking. Wilking. It's like a verb. Yeah. He's Wilking.
Yeah. But like I said, I think he's like 31, 32, 33, something like that. He's in his 30s, which is not a normal thing for the Rule 5, but he very well could stick at the back of their bullpen as kind of a mop-up short inning guy, which I think will be really fun. Because, so there you go. He's almost, I mean, he'll be 33 when the season starts. So there you go. I wasn't wrong on that. Yeah. I mean, but he's a ground ball specialist, is what I was told. Is that he throws a hard, heavy sinker that can run up to upper 90s, and then mixes it with a heavy slider too.
So he debuted with Kansas City once upon a time. He pitched 2 innings in 2014. There you go. That's his career in the majors. So, okay, wow. Well, this is fun, man. Rule 5, there's so much more to talk about. I mean, I'm so happy for our guy, Justyn-Henry Malloy. Chad says Nick Birdie showed a lot of promise until his arm exploded. There was a lot of opportunity in the Cubs' pen for him to stick. Quick thoughts on Nick Birdie.
He was another one. He was drafted in the minor league portion. Pirates kind of got picked clean in the minor league portion. That was another thing.
People are having a ball with the Wilking reference.
Yeah. But Birdie has never recovered control when he's come back. He's never quite got up to the same velocity either. But for most guys, you always have that issue of getting velocity back, which most guys, coming back from Tommy John, what people don't understand is not everyone gets back to 100%. That's part of life. That's it's truth of any surgery. But for the guys that do, you get velocity back first. And then Adam Wainwright once said that your first year back is regaining your velocity on all your pitches. The second full year back is figuring out how to control what you had. So if you think about that first year returning to the mound, you're very likely not having a feel for your pitches. Think about that's beyond the 18, 12 to 18 months of recovery time before you're allowed to throw a pitch. So you're talking 3 years out from Tommy John before you're feeling like you control a pitch again, is what Adam Wainwright was asserting. That's a ridiculous thing to consider. And we're, as fantasy owners, going, 2 years later, gosh, I don't understand why the guy can't, keep the ball over the plate anymore. It's a significant deal. It's a major, major reconstructive surgery that they're trying to do. So.
Damn right. Yeah. I think people have that idea, but yes, all of us can get a little too antsy. I want what I want. I want what I want right now. Jasper says 6-2 with your picks so far, MJ. Thanks. Cool. Which picks are those, by the way? I don't even know. Are we talking about football over at FTN, or what's the deal there? College football. I think you like college like I do. Anyways, that's it. We got to go. That's a show. That's the Prospects Power Half Hour. We hope you enjoyed this. Of course, if you want to continue the conversation, you can find me and Ben in the Palazzo Podcast Discord, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
Discord link is in the live chat. If you're new, most of you guys already know the drill. You'll be back in there, and you'll be telling Ben who the best of the best of the best is when it comes to Rule 5, and Ben will try to slow you down and give you a reality check, because that's what he does. Oh, college football, bro. Okay, hell yeah. Oh, on the right. I forgot. I've been posting the pics on the Patreon. I never mentioned the Patreon because I don't feel like it's been a good football Patreon, but you're right. And I'm happy for you, buddy. You're welcome, Jasper. All right. So don't forget, I'll be doing another show tonight, the full version with Deary at 8 o'clock, supposedly. Deary, back from the dead. We're going to talk about more of a free agent perspective and the moves that happen on the more of the redraft scale and talk about the impact of that for 2023 redraft. But we will be back at 8 o'clock. Of course, follow Ben on Twitter at Big Gentle Ben. I'm at MJ Govier Plus Podcast 2 L's 2 Z's. And we thank you guys for watching. Congratulations, Justyn-Henry Malloy. Go Tigers!
Go Tigers!